Howdy folks, it's Mackie here with Mackie Red Horsemanship. This is Cholla's very first ride. I got my neighbor and partner in crime, Clayton, to help me out here getting this colt started. Most of the time I have to do this by myself, start the colt by myself, and as you're going to see in this video, it's much easier if you've got somebody to help you get these first few rides on your horse. So what I'm having Clayton do here is just kind of work with Cholla so that she can get to know him too, because she has to look at him as being the leader in this herd, and these exercises that I've taught her will help her do that. Now Clayton's not really dialed into my way of doing things, but he'll come around here pretty quick once I explain what's going on, why it'll become pretty obvious to him. Clayton has started lots of colts in his lifetime, so this is no new thing for him, but using my process is quite a bit new to him. He's not done it before. He's started colts his way, which is fine. As I tell everybody, you know, I just have a way, my way, and it works pretty good for me, and it works pretty good for other folks too, if I can get them to understand why I do what I do. And Clayton's a quick study. He figures out all of this out pretty darn quick. He's checking his saddle now. I had to cut part of it out to get enough on here, but he saddled the horse on his own, which is the first time Cholla has been saddled by anybody else other than me. So now I'm talking to him, visiting with Clayton about the process and what we're going to do and how it's going to work, and just going to work her here a little bit more so I can explain to him what's going to happen, the process, and how that's all going to work out. And he thinks it's a good idea to put his chaps on her, and I think it's a great idea too, so he's going to go over there and throw his leggings over her and let her pack those around for a little bit, so she gets used to them, because he's going to be wearing them here when he rides. Now again, this is her very first ride. Now I've stood up in the stirrup and I've been over her back from the rail, and you've probably seen that in other videos where I get a horse used to having somebody over the top of them or above them. And she's been through all this process. And so leading up to today, our goal has always been to make this event uneventful for her, so that there are no surprises and she's prepared. And believe me, we spent quite a bit of time preparing. Now Clayton's kind of running around, and I'm trying to encourage him not to do that. There's no reason to chase her. It's just, you know, the way he's done things in the past. And so there he is. Now he's learned to point. And here I'm going to tell him, you know, let her do the work. There's no reason for you to run. And Clayton agrees with that. And so he starts walking. But again, this is just the preparation before the first ride. Now getting Cholla to this place has taken time. A lot of people are in a big hurry, I think, to get those first rides on their horse. To me, it's important that we prepare the horse for these first rides, because if we have a wreck here at the beginning, we're probably going to have wrecks along the way. So I want this to be just another day for her, no big deal, not to get her excited or nervous or worried. She's just going through the process that we've done since she's been here. But like I mentioned earlier, a lot of folks are in a big hurry to get these rides on, and they don't do the groundwork, they don't do the preparation. And then when they go to ride their horses don't know how to turn, they don't know how to stop, they don't know how to do much of anything, because they're so focused on the ride. And me, I'm more focused on what this horse is going to need in preparation for this very first ride. And that takes time. So it's been about a month up to this point before we make this first ride. And that's okay with me, and fortunately for me, it's okay with the owner. She'd like this horse started right. And I started another horse for her a few years ago, and she was real happy with that. And so here we are, given the opportunity to do this again for them. And something else I should mention here is that the owner, Kelly, has done a great job in getting this horse ready to go off to a trainer. The horse was a little pushy when she got here, but we fixed that. As you can see in the video, she doesn't want to come up and get close. She wants to keep her distance. She's starting to respect that bubble. But what Kelly did do is get this horse used to being around human beings. And that's helped me out a ton when it came to her first saddle, her first bridle, and the list goes on and on. And as I've mentioned in other videos or other comments, it's these little things that add up to making a good, well-rounded horse. And they all take time. It's like I always tell people, we all want the magic pill, give it to our horse, and our horse does what we want our horse to do. And I tell people that I've got that magic pill, and that the horse doesn't have any trouble swallowing it. It's usually the owner that has trouble swallowing that magic pill, and that magic pill is time. So it just takes time. So Clayton and I are talking over how it's going to go, talking about the horse and what he sees in the horse, and how I'm going to give him direction once he's up in that saddle. Now the great thing about having somebody give you a hand is if you're by yourself and you get up on this horse, to get this horse to walk out its very first time can be kind of difficult. And that means we usually have to thump on the horse with our legs, or we have to reach behind them and either use a dressage whip or some other tool to get that horse to move forward. And you can do it. I have done it a bunch. Clayton has done it a bunch, but there's a whole better way of going about this. And it happens when you have two people. So this first ride, Clayton is really just going to be a package. He's just going to be a passenger. He's not going to steer. I just want him to sit up there and ride. And I'm going to round pin this horse just as we have a whole bunch of times, 20, 30 times maybe, since she's been here. And she knows what that's all about. And so she was going to respond to my direction. And all Clayton's going to do is just be a package. So he's getting all ready here, fixing to mount. I'm talking to him about the importance of flexing the horse's head to the side, because we've done a lot of that in preparation for this, and it teaches the horse to relax, to stand still, and it also keeps, in this case, Clayton, keeps him safe. If things go south while he's trying to mount, well, he's got this horse in hand, and she won't be able to get away from him. She may be able to move around, but she's probably just going to go in a circle, and Clayton can sure enough ride that. He won't have any trouble with that. So he's fixing to mount Cholla, and I want you to watch. The Cholla does not move around when he goes to get on, and that's because I've prepared her for this. I prepared her for the time that somebody would get up in that saddle. And so I've asked Clayton to just step up in the saddle, rub her around a little bit, and then step down, right? First thing you do when you get on a horse that's never been ridden is you get off as quick as you can. And Clayton's going to do that. And I'm just going to back up here out of the way a little bit so I'm not much of an influence there. And what I want Clayton to do when he gets mounted is to just flex this horse. Now the horse is moving around here because Clayton is pulling back on the reins. Really haven't made that connection of just flex your horse around, don't pull her back. So he's up there and he's rubbing on her, and she's doing just great. She's standing perfectly still, and steps off, which is exactly what you want to do. Let the horse feel you get up there, feel you move around, and then step off. Remember, this is her first ride. That's the first time she's ever had anybody lay across her back. He's going to do it again. And here about the third time, I think, if I remember right, I just told him when he's ready to throw a leg over and keep her head flexed to the side. You can see my girl there on the outside of the round pen, Cass. She's taking pictures for us, and I'll post some of those later. She got some great pictures of this process. So now I'm just trying to explain to him what I mean when I talk about flexing. You know, I want that horse's head to come way back around, mainly for our safety. The horse is fine with it, but it's mainly to keep us safe. A young horse, if you leave their head stuck out straight in front of them and something spooks them, they're going to jump forward. If you've got your foot in that stirrup and you don't have control of them, well, they're going to get out from underneath you. So, especially with these first few rides, you know, as we go down the trail here a little bit, it's not going to be that big a deal. She'll be able to keep her head straight while we mount and dismount. But starting out, we want to be, it's all about being safe, because we want to be able to do this, you know, till we're 90. So there, Clayton's in the saddle, and he's got his foot in the stirrup. He's kind of moving around, keeping her head flexed until he's ready. And then I'm just going to have him flex the horse from side to side, and while she stands there. Remember, we prepared for this. I've used some driving lines on her and taught her how to turn from right to left, how to stop, how to back up. Before anybody ever got on her back, before we ever rode her, we prepared her by teaching her how to do these things without us having to be on her. And so once we get comfortable here, Clayton's going to start the ride. And basically, like I said earlier, he is just going to be a package. Now I'm explaining to Clayton here just exactly how I want him to flex the horse. We have to kind of direct our horse, lead our horse in these little half circles with his head by bringing our hands out and around instead of just back toward our belly button or toward our hip. So we kind of direct our horse, guide our horse until she figures out how this all works. And Clayton is a great study. I mean, he figures it out fast, and he's a heck of a hand. This is not his first colt he set on. And he agreed with me earlier that it's a whole lot nicer if you got somebody to help you out. And to be honest with you, since my wreck, my confidence is not that great. And to have somebody like Clayton, who's young, experienced, to put these first few rides on, if things went south, Clayton would be able to take care of himself without any trouble. And I probably could too. I'm just not real confident yet. So again, we're just preparing, right? This is all preparation, getting this pony ready for her first time packing a human being around. So I'm going to get my flag here, and we're going to start moving her around a little bit and see how she does. So for me, all I'm going to do is round pin this horse, just like I've done a bunch of times before.